Alright, part 4 of Shattered Dimensions, and we're going to futuristic Manhattan.
2099.
And that's because that's the year this is supposedly taking place in. Whee!
Well, it wouldn't be called 2099 if it wasn't set in 2099.
You'd be surprised why people name things the way they do.
Sensing one of the fragments. Was it on me?
Ow.
Nope. I was right. Well, at least I found it.
Spider, don't fade on me yet.
It's Steve Blum.
Demonic kumquat?
Yep. Voice of the Green Goblin and Spectacular Spider-Man. They managed to grab him for this role. And he fits perfectly.
I know.
The perfect voice for a goblin, honestly. I don't know. Who do you like better, him or Mark Hamill as the Hobgoblin in the 90s show?
I like Steve Blum.
Honestly, I think that Mark Hamill voice works for the Joker miles better than it does for Hobgoblin.
And here's one of the gimmicks of the 2099 free-falling stages.
I think these are pretty self-explanatory. You're supposed to dive and avoid things.
Yeah.
But in this one, only for the Hobgoblin levels, it's kind of a mini-boss along with the dive.
Yep.
You're supposed to get close enough and then web on him and just start beating on his back like that's going to do anything to him.
Oh, trust me,
So,
it might work. It's
going along with what I was doing in the last part, because I don't really need to do this for Amazing or Ultimate, 2099 is not as well known as Amazing or Ultimate, but he is more well known than Noir. The 2099 book started in the early 90s. I think 92 is when the first issue of 2099 came out.
So it's before Batman Beyond. Lol.
Technically, like when it was made, it was before 2099, but I think in real life, Batman Beyond would come first. Because Peter is not alive. Well,
Yeah.
technically. I don't want to spoil anything for something else. And don't you say anything either, because I think I know you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to spoil anything there.
So here's the typical throw the bomb back.
Yeah, most of this level is around throwing crap. For some reason, 2099 has a lot of these moments where you have to throw stuff at something else.
Did that bomb just home in on him like that?
Yeah, I don't get it either.
That was weird.
That's a weird theme that 2099 has. He has a lot of moments where you have to throw something at something else.
I remember only this section. I don't remember it from anywhere else.
You'll see in the Scorpion level.
Oh. I don't remember anything like that being in that level.
So...
Oh wait, now I do.
So this is the last hit. You have to make him do that, and you just gotta land and kick him in the face when he's done doing whatever the heck that is.
And now, painful attack.
That reminds me of something from Arkham Asylum.
How did that not knock him out?
I don't know.
I'd love to stay and play, but I've got places to destroy.
So unlike the other three Spideys, swinging around in the open world like this is actually kind of dangerous because you can get hurt by those. But the first time I played through this level, this part was jaw-dropping.
I know.
Just swinging in open New York like this with cars flying around you.
Where's the ground?
The ground's down below.
How high are these buildings anyway?
I have no idea. I think the game makes them look a lot larger than they're supposed to be.
And here's
Because in the comics, they do have a lot of fights on the ground, and there are stuff on the ground. It's just, in this game, for some reason, the ground looks non-existent.
What are these guys' names? The
Public Eye. I'll explain them here in a minute. So, like I explained with Noir, seeing how he's not as well known, like Miguel here, I'm going to explain 2099 the best I can. Basically, this company he's working for called Alchemex, which, if you've read 2099 or just getting into 2099, that name is going to be very familiar. And you're going to know who they are because they are the main reason behind just about everything in the 2099 books. It's basically, I want to say it's a combination of Stark Industries and somebody else's company, but I'm not. Don't quote me on that, because the thing is, it's the future. There's a lot of business fusions and company, like mergers and stuff like that. But it's kind of like Oscorp. It's a heavy biological and
Corrupted.
tech. No, not corrupted, but like biological research and technology based company where they create stuff and whatnot. And Miguel O'Hara here, the only Spidey in this game that's not a Peter Parker, is one of the main biochemists in their department. The reason why the camera's like this is because I missed one and I could not see it for the life of me.
What, it's stuck on that one?
It's stuck like this for some reason. For some reason, there were a few things while recording a few of these levels that have never happened to me before.
Oh yeah, and here becomes another one of...
So yeah, 2099 also has this feature where you can slow down time. I don't really utilize it all that well.
Accelerated mode.
It just slows down time and you move at normal pace while everything else around you moves slow. It's
kind of useful in the free fall stages, though.
Yeah, because he'll end up outrunning everything.
Yeah.
But it's only really useful in one particular free fall section, and that's in the next level for him too. So back to Miguel's backstory.
Yeah.
They do research on the heroes during the so-called heroic age, or the current age of heroes as we know them. Spidey, Cap, Iron Man, Thor, the X-Men. Basically the modern era of heroes was known as the age of heroes in this time period. And they were doing research on what made these people who they were. And their main study, for some reason, happened to be Spidey, because they realized that he was a biological experiment.
And he's
which,
awesome.
Well, no, it's mostly because the Alchemex's main thing was bioengineering. And seeing how Spider-Man was a biological mishap, they wanted to study what made Peter Parker Spider-Man. And they researched their studies and they tried to find a way to manipulate it, to recreate Spider-Man for some kind of... It's basically picture the super soldier serum but with Spider-Man's abilities. That's basically what they were trying to do.
And didn't it, like, kill everyone?
I'm getting to that.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure.
They managed to get something, but they tested it on like 10-15 people, and each time it killed them. So after a while, Miguel O'Hara quit because he was getting sick of killing people with this. He said he couldn't take it and it wasn't worth the time, so he quit. And him being the main researcher on the project knew the most about it. So the man in charge of the project, if I don't know his name, wanted him out of the picture. So he called him into Alchemex one night and threw him in the machine that ran the experiment, hoping it would kill Miguel. And the one time it was used for killing purposes is the one time it worked.
And it gave him
so he managed to knock out the guy who threatened to kill him and the public eye, which is Alchemex's heavily enforced police army, which is what just about all the enemies in the 2099 levels are. It's a very, very strict police force that is run by Alchemex. So he managed to get out, and then he realized what has happened to him. He called himself a miracle because out of the numerous amounts of people that did it, he was the one that survived and managed to get it to work on him. So he decided, basically along the lines of Peter in the Amazing Universe, to use those powers to aid those who needed it. AKA stopping the one behind most of the chaos in the current Manhattan, which is Alchemex. He wanted to use his powers to because to the basic public, Alchemex is nothing more than a company trying to help and be the good guys and everything, but what they really do is hidden. He knows what Alchemex's really up to, so he's trying to save Manhattan from what they're up to, but seeing how Alchemex is like heavy in politics and is deemed like the heroic good guy company of the world, Miguel is deemed, well, Spider-Man is deemed as the villain for trying to overthrow a company, trying to restore order and peace to the world. So it's a big misunderstanding, kind of like what JJ did with Amazing, well, and Ultimate.
Yeah.
So he found this costume he had gotten when he went to a Mardi Gras party in Mexico, and he managed to add certain technological upgrades to it, like a cape and some kind of gliding wings and some ballistic armor and openings in his wrists for webbing. Thus, that's where his costume comes from.
Mardi Gras.
Yeah, it's supposed to be a Mardi Gras costume that he just vamped up.
Wow.
Now, the experiment to recreate Spider-Man wasn't necessarily perfect.
It didn't give him a
He
spider
has
sense.
no spider sense. The webbing doesn't come out from underneath his wrist, it comes out from on top of his wrists.
Oh, kind of like the symbiote.
So you look at the arrows on the top of his hands, they shoot out of there. Yeah, basically like the original symbiote in the Amazing Universe. It comes out of the top of his wrists. So the traditional finger thing that Amazing and Ultimate and stuff that we're known to, with the two middle fingers touching the palm and the thumb and the pointing finger and the pinky finger being out, doesn't apply. He just shoots it out of the top of his wrists. And another thing is that he managed to grow fangs. He has fang teeth, and his fingers have grown into poisonous tips. That's why he doesn't throw punches. If you notice how he attacks in swipes. Because he has claws on his fingertips and fangs in his teeth. And yes, his fingertips are poisonous. He holds spider venom in his fingers.
Wow.
So that's why if he's just in a fist fight with somebody he doesn't necessarily care about or whatever, he'll throw a punch. But if they're wearing armor, like what most of these public eye people are wearing, he'll claw them because their armor, the poison won't go through their armor, but it's much more dangerous.
So he's more spider-like.
So yeah, actually for like some of the physical attributes, he is more spider-like than Peter was. But when it comes to abilities and whatnot, he's not as powerful. I think he's faster than Peter was, but I think when it comes to strength, he's much weaker. Plus having no spider sense ends up hurting him. Thus Madam Web giving him a spider sense in this game as one of her buffs to the Spider-Man.
Is that the acceleration vision? What is that?
I think that's one of the suit's features.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Kind of like a substitute.
Yeah.
Okay, here comes the final
Wow,
boss.
Wow, explaining 2099's story lasted a lot longer than I thought.
Yeah. And here's the
Oh, we're already at the final boss. So, Hobgoblin here is brand new.
He never showed up in the comic.
No. They did add some enemies that were never in the comics. A.k.a. Hammerhead was never introduced in the Noir books. Hobgoblin here, this is a completely new design. I mean, this is something
really cool, too.
This is something we've never seen. This is a game-exclusive character.
So the Rock gives him...
I'm assuming he's latching himself into... I've never understood what the heck's going on here.
I think
he's just distorting reality on top of this tower with some kind of generator. That's what I get out of it.
I think he's making some kind of augmented reality, or is that the same thing?
I don't know. So basically you have to destroy these fakes.
Gargoyles.
Yeah, fake gargoyle things. And then you just
off.
have to go back to the basic formula of the fight that you had.
Oh, avoid this move. This is
after the opening free fall section. It's basically the same, but you have to do this dodge attack. There's no real difference. Now I do have some weird control moments later in this fight. For some reason, he decided not to land. And when I mean he, I mean Spidey. So I would press the... and stuff like that happened. For some reason, he wouldn't throw the bombs. I think it was because I was too close. And there are other times where I would press the attack button to come down faster, and he would end up doing that little web jump thing in the air. So I had some control issues right here. I'll admit to it. I make this look a lot harder than it's supposed to be.
Where'd he go? Oh.
There he goes.
Yeah, this fight is much easier than it's showing here.
Yeah, I had some control issues.
We always have those days where something incredibly easy becomes hard.
Yep. Remember that one time I fought the Bio-Lizard, like 32 lives, and by the time I finally beat him I only had 9.
Yeah.
I know how to fight the dang thing, but for some reason, it was just one of those days where the game just didn't like me. See, that right there.
Yeah.
I tried to come down.
I had some of those instances of Super Metroid yesterday.
Yeah.
We're probably going to get to that too.
He's going to be playing it.
I'm good at it so far. And
Yeah, you
oh,
played
and by
through
the
it
way,
like 4 or 5 times in the span of 2 weeks.
Oh, by the way, he is healing, so you better kill us
Yeah,
fast.
so this is a bit timed. To an extent, it's timed, I guess. Nothing major.
Don't worry, he regenerates at a snail's pace anyway.
Yeah.
And so yeah, he's not regenerating that much.
Now note that I said that he shoots the webbing out of the top of his wrist, but for some reason in this game they made him shoot it the same way as the other Spider-Man do.
I don't know.
I never understood why they did that, because they got most of the features of 2099 and Noir spot on. That, for some reason, was one thing that they didn't do right. Because I know you've probably noticed in some of the moments where he's shooting the web regularly. I don't know why they did that.
And ow.
Now, I don't know if I'm going to have enough time to talk about this, so I'll save it for the next Noir and 2099 sections.
Okay, here's the only 2099 first-person mode.
Noir has first-person modes do all of his. This is the only time 2099 has a first-person thing, and this is completely, stupidly easy. That was the first time I have ever had him actually attack me.
Oh, don't just stand there or you will lose. He will flip you over and fly off if you just stand there and do nothing.
Wait, really?
Yeah, that's why you have to keep attacking him. If you don't, he'll just fly off. Yeah.
I didn't know that. Okay.
So yeah, you have to attack.
Only one corporation has technology advanced enough for this.
We got story elements. Yeah, I'll be explaining that. So we're ending the first act of the game with good old Ultimate Spider-Man.
Yep, and his black suit.